The Shepherd Turpin Enfield, also known as the STEN, had its origins during the darkest days of World War II, when the British Army lost most of its small arms during the evacuation of Dunkirk. This resulted in Britain finding itself in desperate need of a simple, cheap and mass-produced submachine gun to re-equip the country in the face of an imminent German invasion. The result was the STEN, a weapon so simple it needed only 47 parts and cost only $11 to manufacture, resulting in over 4.5 million units being produced. Even after the war and its replacement, the STEN remained popular amongst paramilitaries and rebel groups across the world thanks to its ease of construction and basic maintenance. In airsoft, the STEN has been noticeably absent, with only a few examples ever in existence. That is, until Northeast came along, with not just one, but 7 different variants of the STEN for you to choose from. Internally, all variants of the STEN are pretty much the same, so this review can certainly be mostly applicable to all variants of Northeast STEN. For this review, I have here Northeast's newest offering, which is, brace for it, the STEN Mk2 Special Operations Executive Welsilencer variant. Quite a mouthful. This was an early paratrooper variant created for SOE agents in covert operations in occupied Europe, where compactness and stealth were more important than accuracy, hence the lack of a buttstock. Now, the most obvious distinguishing feature of this variant is this gigantic integral suppressor on the front. Being an early sort of jury-rigged variant from 1941 to 1942, this suppressor is certainly less refined than those of later STENs, like the Mk2 and the Mk6. As a result, this also lacks their proprietary asbestos handguards. Your hand may burn, but at least this gun won't give you cancer. Externally, the STEN is made of a gorgeous, full steel external body from tip to butt, with all the welds in all the right places, same as the real thing. It really is as solidly as built as you could want it, but unfortunately it is pretty bloody heavy, especially towards the front due to yet again this insanely huge suppressor. However, it's also important to note that the lack of a stock will certainly make aiming this thing quite difficult, which could be divisive for some players. The safety of the STEN can be activated merely by pushing the charging handle through a small hole in the receiver to stop the bolt from moving. It's simple, crude, but pretty effective. As for the firing mode can be changed from repetition to automatic through this push pin right over here. Moving on to the top, the sights, well, they're pretty crude. They're fixed, they're non-adjustable, but it kind of makes sense because simplicity, not marksmanship, was the main purpose of the STEN. The trigger is pretty basic, just a straight piece of metal, but it does have quite a light pull and a slight wall before it sets off the action. Now do remember that this is an open bolt gun, so there will be a slight delay before firing, unlike traditional closed bolt weapons. Now, the adjustable hop-up is a bit of a doozy. In order to access it, you'll first need to remove the barrel containing the integrated suppressor to adjust the dial on the bottom. It's annoying, I know, but at the same time, I don't really see how this could have otherwise been done without compromising the stellar realism of this gun. Like most gas blowback airsoft guns, the STEN does have a last round magazine cutoff. However, this is disabled by default, and you'll need to relocate a pin on the back inside this magazine to enable the last magazine cutoff. Now, Northeast says that activating magazine cutoff would wear out certain parts and shorten the service life of the cutoff mechanism, which is a little funny because that's like getting into a car and then seeing a sign that says don't use the brakes too much or they'll fail prematurely. Bit awkward, but in the end, it really is up to you whether you use it. So overall, it seems like the STEN is quite a beast on the externals, but how does it perform? Let's head to the range and find out. And now for the Chrono. In this, we'll be shooting 0.2 gram BBs with green gas.
Now, you've probably noticed from the Chrono test that this Sten shoots quite hot, maybe even more so than other versions of the Northeast Sten. That's because the inner barrel here extends along the entire length of this gigantic silencer. So now for the accuracy test. Here I am at a standard 15-meter range, firing from a standing supported position. Another thing to note is that as it fires from an open bolt, there's going to be a little bit of a delay from the trigger pull and the actual rounds leaving the barrel. So just to keep in mind, right? All right, range is hot. This is going to be interesting to aim. Oh wow, look what we got here. Yeah, we actually shot a few extra rounds for this, but accuracy, it's good enough for what we got. It's nowhere near as good as the others, but I think that probably has more to do with the sighting system we have on the Sten than the gun's inherent accuracy, as the sights on the Sten are extraordinarily rudimentary. At least it's man-sized, so you'd easily be able to get somebody with this. Ergonomically, it shouldn't surprise you to know that this Sten is exceptionally front heavy because of the obvious gigantic silencer. Shooters of the Sten also need to understand that there's also a crucial issue that plagues this Sten that also plagued the real gun. In that, thanks to its open bolt design, if you pull back the bolt and you don't fully pull back until it locks and you let go, the gun could fire accidentally, just like the real thing. Now, obviously, this pistol grip, a lot of people are going to ask, how on earth to aim this thing? And the answer is, you don't. The 1942 Manual of Arms actually straight up states that you should actually fire the Sten from a hip position when advancing on the enemy, and only engage in the shoulder use if you have a stock. So why do we just do it anyway? So let's recreate a scenario from one of the most famous instances where a commando Sten was used, the assassination of Obergruppenführer Reinhard Heydrich. Over here, we have a high-value target in his sedan, and hopefully, unlike Cillian Murphy over here, this Sten should actually work. Okay, that was pretty good. Yeah, I really like this. So yeah, I mean, as I said before, ridiculously front heavy, very impractical, but amazing, right? This is what you want to use for an assassination weapon, and it was absolutely perfect for role-playing. Yeah, best thing, full steel. To the point, I'd actually reckon it was probably made better than the real thing. And that is pretty awesome, actually. I really do like it. So anyway, come on. We've had our fun, so let's head back to the studio. And there you have it. Ultimately, I have to say that Northeast have done an utterly stellar job when it comes to the Sten here. So, let's rank it, shall we? For fun factor, the Sten's recoil impulse is excellent, and it is a blast to shoot. However, its substantial weight, especially with this huge silencer over here, might fatigue smaller players, and the lack of the stock on this version could be a turnoff. So ultimately, we give a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but only because other versions of the Northeast Sten would almost certainly rank higher. For realism, we give this an outstanding 5 out of 5 stars. Quite simply put, you will not find a more realistic airsoft Sten out there, period.
every single external millimeter of this Northeast Sten is made to be as authentic as possible, ranging from being made of steel to the fact that you actually cannot see any external indicator of this being an airsoft gun, like hop-up nubs and things. So, well done, Northeast. Performance-wise, we give this Sten a 4 out of 5 stars. It's a solid shooting GBB, but the trigger response is just slightly slower due to the fact it's an open bolt gun. In addition, we have noticed that it does suffer from cooldown being made of full steel. So if you try to mag dump it on full auto, you're gonna have to keep that in mind. On build quality, we yet again give this an outstanding 5 out of 5 stars. Being made of full steel, its workmanship and sturdiness is second to none. In fact, the build quality of this airsoft gun quite likely exceeds that of many real steel Stens, especially when it comes to the welding over here, which on many real examples can be pretty atrocious. On value, we're going to have to give the Sten a 3 out of 5 stars. It's excellent in almost every other category, but at $500 US, it's going to cost a pretty penny that not many people are willing to pay. As for collectability though, we give it a 4 out of 5 stars. The novelty of a GBB Sten is pretty high, but since Northeast released this gun several years ago, they have been selling like hotcakes. They're certainly not as rare as they used to be, but even then, this will still make an excellent wall hanger for any collector out there. Overall, we give the Northeast Sten a 4 out of 5 stars. It is an excellent gun, and let's give credit to Northeast here. They really have made the best lineup of airsoft Stens in history. So good on them, because no other company would go all the way to make 7 whole variants of the same gun. So let's hand it over to you guys. What are your thoughts on the Northeast Sten? Let us know in the comments section below. We read them, we love them, and we want to know more. And for these cool products and many more, go visit us at www.redwolfairsoft.com. This is Andrew, callsign Flood, out.